When writing test scripts, we are constantly changing the code to ensure it remains understandable and overall easy to maintain. Right now, what I don't like about this code is that there's a lot of data that is hard coded. So, for example, here we have the username and the password, they are hard coded. And generally, the way we have constructed this request, here we have used variables and then passed them to HTTP post. Here we have put everything together in one. So overall, I think there is room for improvement. Whenever we are making improvements to the code, but overall the functionality of the code remains the same, call this a refactoring or a code refactoring. So let's see what we can do. First of all, the first request is created in a different way. So ideally, what we want to do is to put the credentials in a separate variable because we need the credentials both for creating a user, then later for the authentication. So in this case, it does make sense to have them as a variable. I'm going to go ahead and define a new variable, and I'm going to call it credentials. And I'm going to go ahead and initialize credentials with this object that we have here. I'm going to simply cut it from here, paste it here. And of course, also in terms of the password, we can be a bit more dynamic, and I'm going to write here secret. And then I'm going to also use date now, just to have a different secret, something that's not easily guessed. Right, apart from this, we still have the body. So I'm going to use the exact same approach that I've used for the other request. I'm going to move here the URL on a different line, the body on a new line, params on a new line, and then I'm going to close the function call also on a separate line, just to keep everything easier to understand. So essentially, the credentials also represent the body. So all you have to do is use JSON stringify. So I'm going to replace here body with JSON stringify and reference the credentials. And apart from this, in the params, we can just push the entire object here without creating the params variable separately. So this should look pretty much like this. Okay, so we have here everything that we need. In this case, the credentials, we're gonna use them here. So here we have nothing that's hard-coded. The next step would be to use them here when we are logging in. So in this case, I'm gonna remove this hard-coded value. I'm gonna write credentials.username, and the password will be credentials.password. We're referencing the username and the password from there. Finally, we need to make sure that our script is still working as expected. So we're gonna run it once again and then take a look at the results. Hopefully, you're gonna see here the token, which we are seeing. So it means that now we have improved our script a bit, but at the same time, the functionality is still the same. But now it doesn't contain any hard-coded information, and both requests are constructed in a similar fashion.